Coming up on Cronkite News, bills are moving through the legislature covering topics from critical race theory to abortion. We'll have the latest.
Plus, as more people go solar, what happens to old panels? We explain how Arizona could be at the forefront of recycling.
And later, Supercross here in Arizona, and with it comes a lot of dirt. We explain what goes into building the racetrack.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Molly Hudson.
And I'm Mia Marquez. Thank you for joining us. A bill that would punish teachers if they offer instruction that has any form of blame or judgment based on race, ethnicity, or sex was introduced into the legislature this session. The bill takes on what some people refer to as the teaching of critical race theory. Cronkite News reporter Mackenzie Allen Charmley shows us how Arizona teachers could be impacted.
Dozens of states are considering or have passed legislation that restricts teaching about race and discrimination. A previous Arizona law to ban discussions about race in classrooms was struck down by the Arizona Supreme Court last year. Now the legislature is debating the issue once again.
The final bill on our calendar is House Bill 2112.
Legislation to ban curriculum that teaches critical race theory in Arizona schools was voted on last month by the House Education Committee. Under the bill, teaching students that one race or ethnic group is superior to another is prohibited. Bill sponsor Representative Michelle Udall says it's about responsible teaching.
Children deserve to be taught to be responsible for their own actions, but that they are not responsible for actions that others have done.
Garrick McFadden's daughter goes to school in Arizona, and he's concerned that if the bill passes, the lack of teaching racial histories could prevent the next generation of students from being able to solve the problems of the past.
This is not about making white children uncomfortable. This is not about making gay children or cisgendered children uncomfortable. This is about them learning to empathize with people who are other.
To Director of Project Humanities at ASU, Dr. Neil Lester, this not only restricts teachers, but leaves them in fear.
In many ways, the teachers are being, having their hands tied because they can't talk about history now. They don't have, and the way I've seen this in the work that I've done is that there's sort of these buzzwords. If you mention anything about privilege, if you mention anything about anti-racism.
To Lester, all the buzz about critical race theory is misguided.
It's just a theory, it's a perspective. That's what's so odd about this conversation is that people can be threatened by a perspective. And it shows the power of ideas, but it also shows the ways in which other people have been miseducated.
This bill has a while to go before it becomes law, but a similar bill made it through both chambers last year and was signed by Governor Doug Ducey. That law was thrown out by the Arizona Supreme Court on a technicality. In the newsroom, Mackenzie Allen Charmley, Cronkite News.
Another bill making its way through the legislature is one that would ban abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy. It passed the Senate, and now the bill moves to the House. The vote was passed by Republicans along party lines. It's similar but not identical to the Mississippi abortion bill before the U.S. Supreme Court. Many anticipate the justice's ruling will bring changes to abortion accessibility across the country. Democrats who oppose the bill argue the measure is unconstitutional under Roe v. Wade. They also argue the bill would disproportionately impact poor and minority women who can't travel to Democratic states without strict abortion laws. Republicans who support the bill say they hope the high courts will uphold a Mississippi law banning abortions at 15 weeks nationwide. Members of the LGBTQ+ community say there is a wave of bills in the legislature that directly affect them. Cronkite News reporter Andrea Villalobos explains how one particular bill is causing concern.
To decide medical care.
Chelsea Morrison left Texas with her family looking for a state that welcomed members of the LGBTQ community, including her daughter.
She's amazing, you know, like some of the testimony that you heard today. It's not like my daughter had the language to say that she was transgender from the age of 2.5 and 3, but she did let us know who she was.
As a transgender teen, she has been fighting against anti-LGBTQ legislature since she was 7 years old.
I feel like it's horrible. As a child, I shouldn't have to be here. I should be in school learning, but I'm fighting for my own human rights, and I don't think it's okay.
Morrison and other members of the community say these bills are directly affecting them.
She doesn't deserve to have to hear things like this from her legislators, which is literally state-sanctioned bullying.
SB 1138 could prevent doctors from performing gender reassignment surgeries in minors. Today, lawmakers modified it to stop them from doing the surgery on minors who have not lived as their preferred gender for at least 12 months.
So what this bill does is it really does try to pause things and make sure that children are protected until they reach the age of majority to make those decisions themselves. That's all this does.
Morrison and her daughters say that if this bill is passed, they would consider leaving Arizona.
And we're not going to let y'all hurt our kids and use our kids as pawns anymore. This is ridiculous.
In Phoenix, Andrea Villalobos, Cronkite News.
This is not the end of the fight for members of the LGBTQ+ community, as they plan to continue to speak out against the other bills being considered.
House committee investigating the January 6th insurrection subpoenaed 2 Arizona Republicans over their efforts to falsely declare former President Trump the winner of the 2020 election. Arizona State Representative Mark Fincham and GOP Chair Kelly Ward were among 6 of the Trump campaign members in the latest round of subpoenas. The panel is seeking testimony and records from people who it says had knowledge or participated in efforts to send false alternate electors from 7 states in which President Biden won. 2 weeks ago, Ward and her husband filed a lawsuit against the House committee trying to block a subpoena of their phone records. Both signed a document claiming they were Arizona's true electors despite Biden's win in Arizona.
Pima County Board of Supervisors voted to not extend the mask mandate in the county office once it ends February 28th. The current mandate requires everyone in the county to wear face coverings indoor where physical distancing isn't possible. The county administrator recommended an additional month of mask mandates, but the board voted against it. Masks will still be required in county buildings.
Border Protection rescued an injured person during a dangerous nighttime rescue. The person was located 3 miles north of the U.S.-Mexico border near San Miguel. The person was injured and waved at a National Guard helicopter patrolling the area. The person's location was sent to the crew of a Black Hawk helicopter. Because it was dark and the area is mountainous, the crew couldn't land. So one member of the crew used an 80-foot line to drop down, assess the person's injuries, and lift them out. The person was then taken for medical evaluation.
More people in Arizona are starting to go solar, but what happens to old solar panels? Coming up, we will look at how the state plans to recycle those old solar panels.
And one major phone company is planning to shut down 3G service. How this could affect your daily life.
Passport is adding new shows and doubling the number of episodes for you to stream. For the first time ever, our most popular programs have been selected just for you.
But there's so much more.
Whether you like to travel,
wow,
feast,
and calories don't count.
Look back.
That is me.
Discover.
You know the whole story.
There's something for everyone.
Let's get to it right away.
Stream on any device with Passport on the PBS Video app.
The Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communications Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Every day I wake up, my first thought is, how can I serve this community?
The big biggest hurdle was not taking PTSD personally.
Would you welcome, please, the amazing.
Everybody that watches this, they say that I am the greatest that they've ever seen.
Cronkite News provides students at ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism with the opportunity to gain real-world experience in the newsroom. At Cronkite News, our students produce professional content for audiences by taking on all roles, whether they be reporting, anchoring, producing, or studio production. Each department gives students first-hand professional newsroom experience. For more information, visit cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Stream the best of PBS on any device with the PBS Video app. All your favorite drama, history, science, news, and documentaries, all in one place. Watch your PBS station live or catch up on the shows you missed. Discover new favorites from PBS and locally produced shows from your station.
Sign in and start streaming today.
AT&T is getting ready to shut down the 3G network, and while that might not sound like a big deal, it could impact some things you may not think about. Some of the items that still may be on 3G, home alarm systems, some medical devices like fall detectors, and in-car crash systems like OnStar. If they're not upgraded, millions of cars may not be able to contact first responders in a crash. Some companies have software upgrades to fix the problem. Home security companies say they've encouraged customers still on 3G to upgrade. If you have questions about any of these systems, call the company or dealership to check if your device needs an upgrade.
8% of Arizona's energy comes from solar. But what happens when your solar panels reach their end of life? Cronkite News reporter Peyton Major found researchers and a business that are giving old panels a new purpose.
Solar panels are expected to contribute 8 million tons of waste by 2030, according to the International Renewable Energy Agency. So it's now more important than ever to recycle panels sustainably, and Arizona is one of the states leading this effort.
Yeah. So what happens when a solar panel reaches the end of its 20 to 30-year lifespan? Well, the last place it should end up is in a landfill. That's why an Arizona State University professor and his team are working on a technology to salvage the panel's precious metals, such as silicon, silver, and even lead.
I am working on increasing the recovery rates of the lead. We don't want this ending up in our environment, in our groundwater, things like that.
And with a $485,000 grant from the Department of Energy, Meng Tao is hoping to revolutionize the solar panel recycling industry using chemicals to break down high-value metals.
We want to recover all the materials contained in solar panels, and then we can reuse these materials in making new solar panels.
A We Recycle solar facility in Yuma salvages these high-value materials without chemicals. Normally, they process up to 2,500 panels a day, removing the aluminum frame and glass exteriors. However, issues related to the pandemic have workers recycling by hand.
Supply chain issues have been very painful for us. We're on a 24-week delay that we just got informed about this morning for one of our main pieces of power equipment.
Until their power equipment arrives, the team won't have fully automatic operations. The equipment is useful for breaking down materials to be used in solar panels.
But we make it our goal to avoid landfill for at least 95% of what comes in the door here.
While their plant in Yuma continues to recycle hands-on, Arizona State University will work microscopically to ensure solar energy remains sustainable.
The clouds you saw outside this morning weren't ideal for solar energy, and they'll likely be back tomorrow as we're in for another cool day. However, we can expect a warm weekend ahead, something to look forward to. And then next week, we have another cold front and low pressure system come in, bringing those low temperatures again. This is because of a low pressure system came in today, A cold front also passed by this morning, dipping temperatures into the 60s, a big change from those 80s we were experiencing last weekend. And that low pressure is actually going to travel to the East Coast, bringing a lot of severe weather watches to those areas. It's something to keep an eye on in the next few days. All we have to worry about, though, is this little low that's hanging off. We'll see a beautiful weekend ahead, Saturday especially. This might bring a little bit of breezing to Saturday, but it shouldn't affect the temperature that much. And then a low creeps in Tuesday, come Wednesday, and it will bring a little bit of precipitation. Low temperatures tomorrow, again, we're still staying pretty chilly. So 47 in Phoenix, 19 in Flagstaff, 38 in Tucson. Highs tomorrow, we can expect right around the 70s, 68 in Phoenix, 41 in Flagstaff, 61 in Tucson. The next 3 days we are heating up. Saturday would be the best day to get outside, go to the park and enjoy that sunshine. Before that low pressure system comes in, we'll see some cloud cover and even some slight chances of precipitation come early next week. So get out, enjoy that sunshine. I'm Peyton Major in the Cronkite Weather Center.
I'm Zachary Larson. Coming up after the break, I'll have your Cronkite Sports Report. We'll take a look at some very important dirt and what makes it so special.
Cronkite News is more than your local news station. Through our innovative ideas, we create new ways to connect with our viewers and have their stories be heard. Our cutting-edge technology allows us to take a deeper dive into seeking the truth and delivering new perspectives. Stay up to date on top Arizona stories anytime on TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook at Cronkite News.
It's prime time on your time. Watch Prime Afternoons every weekday on Arizona PBS. Did you miss a show in the evening? Then catch up on Prime Afternoons, your favorite dramas.
No more bloody heroics.
Antiques Roadshow.
Really?
Nature and Nova.
It's time to reintroduce some wonder into this miracle of nature.
All of the best from PBS on Prime Afternoons. Weekdays starting at 1:30, only on Arizona PBS.
Every day I wake up, my first thought is, how can I serve this community?
The biggest hurdle was not taking PTSD personally.
Would you welcome, please, the amazing.
Everybody that watches this, they say that I am the greatest that they've ever seen.
Here we go. Lights up. Whoa.
As artists, we conduct our educations in public. You can never know whether it's going to be a success. One just has to risk it.
It's you and the work and the place. It's a very particular relationship.
Here's our lens. Tell us what you think.
Friday night at 9 on Arizona PBS.
Welcome back to Cronkite News. I'm Zachary Larson, and this is your Cronkite Sports Report. The Suns got a close win last night against the Los Angeles Clippers, 103-96. Devin Booker led the team with 26 points and found a way to come out with a win in the dying minutes of the game.
We turn it on, and I don't want to make it sound like it's an on and off switch, like we're not trying the rest of the game, but you know, we've been in those situations and we understand how much those little plays and 50-50 balls matter. So, you know, we try to key on to those at the same time as just being sound, like no gambling on defense. Don't try to create nothing crazy on offense. Just play the game how we play it.
And some news out of the Phoenix Rising, 17-year-old center back Nile Dunn will miss the start of the season with an undisclosed injury. The injury comes about a month before the Rising begin their season on March 12th. An Arizona native and former Chandler High School student, Dunn joined the team following a stint with the Rising Academy program. He signed with the squad at 16 years old and was getting his second season on the main roster. Head coach Rick Shantz says doctors are still assessing the situation.
Nile, we're still kind of getting some information from the docs, but he's going to be a long-term, 4 to 6 months.
The Phoenix Rising next play a friendly match against Louisville City on Saturday. Now, here are 3 other stories we're tracking today. The ASU women's basketball team was scheduled to play at Cal tonight, but the matchup was canceled and is not expected to be made up. The Sun Devils will now look to prepare for their game at Washington State Friday night. Former ASU linebackers coach Antonio Pierce is headed back to the NFL and will join the Las Vegas Raiders as their new linebackers coach. Pierce joined the ASU coaching staff in 2017 following a 9-year NFL career. He announced his resignation from the program earlier this month. Super Bowl 56 was the most watched show in the past 5 years since Super Bowl 51. There were over 100 million viewers across NBC and Telemundo, and over 10 million viewers across digital endpoints. You can bet Arizona will be looking to top these numbers for Super Bowl 57 next year. Finally, it's time to get a little muddy. Supercross made its way to Arizona recently, taking over State Farm Stadium in Glendale. Cronkite News reporter Andrew Kurland digs in the dirt to show us how a Supercross track gets built.
This is a story about dirt. A lot of it. But it's not just any dirt. It's the racing surface for Monster Energy Supercross.
So this is our Glendale stockpile. 400 of these truckloads behind me. And these things are loaded to the max, right?
Bill Harris oversees the entire process, where over the course of an entire week, the empty State Farm Stadium is converted into a Saturday night show in front of 54,000 fans. Just like building a house, constructing a Supercross track is all about following the blueprints.
They know they need a 3-foot jump here, a 5-foot jump there. The finish line's going to go over here. So they'll work their way from the outside in. So they'll stockpile the dirt in the center, and they go out and they plot it out with tape measures and drive stakes in where it goes and start dumping dirt.
Flash forward to Saturday, and the dirt is ready. The riders will tackle it for the first time when they arrive on race weekend. Supercross rider Marvin Muscan typically has to see the track for himself to understand it.
We do have track maps, on the website that we can check it out and have an idea. But when you get in the stadium, then you finally see how steep it is and the real design of the track.
All of the dirt used for Saturday night is stored locally year-round. Robbie Wageman races for Arizona's Team Solitaire and Nuclear Blast Yamaha. In his eyes, the difference between West Coast dirt and East Coast dirt is dramatic.
The East Coast is soft, so it'll get super ruddy. This dirt is more hard, so it'll chew up and get like potholes and blue grooves and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely different, and it's got to be key to, like, here you have to have some throttle control so you don't spin out, but we love it.
Throughout the night, dirt gets tossed around, rutted up, and maintained. Once the checkered flag waves, it's back to Bill and his team to tear it all back down. The process gets repeated 17 times in an 18-week span, routine for Bill and his team. It's a story about dirt, and it takes a lot of it to put on a show. In Glendale, Andrew Kurland, Cronkite News.
That's all for today's Cronkite Sports Report. Back to you, Mia and Molly.
Are you ready to travel to space? After the break, we'll tell you how you can make a reservation to go to infinity and beyond.
Cronkite News is more than your local news station. Through our innovative ideas, we create new ways to connect with our viewers and have their stories be heard. Our cutting-edge technology allows us to take a deeper dive into seeking the truth and delivering new perspectives. Stay up to date on top Arizona stories anytime on TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook at Cronkite News.
It's prime time on your time. Watch Prime Afternoons every weekday on Arizona PBS. Did you miss a show in the evening? Then catch up on Prime Afternoons, your favorite dramas.
No more bloody heroics.
Antiques Roadshow.
Really?
Nature and Nova.
It's time to reintroduce some wonder into this miracle of nature.
All of the best from PBS on Prime Afternoons. Weekdays starting at 1:30, only on Arizona PBS.
Every day I wake up, my first thought is, how can I serve this community?
The biggest hurdle was not taking PTSD personally.
Would you welcome, please, the amazing.
Everybody that watches this, they say that I am the greatest that they've ever seen.
Here we go. Lights up. Whoa.
As artists, we conduct our educations in public. You can never know whether it's going to be a success. One just has to risk it.
It's you and the work and the place. It's a very particular relationship.
Here's our lens. Tell us what you think.
Friday night at 9 on Arizona PBS.
You can now make reservations to travel to space. Virgin Galactic opened up spots today for its next trip to space. But it won't come cheap. Tickets are $450,000. An initial deposit of $150,000 holds your spot. Just what does the trip entail? An hour-and-a-half-long journey from Earth to space and back. 1,000 people are slated to be on board of the initial flight later this year. That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.